Wait, am I? Okay. Well, hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to Killing Even More. I am Karyn Bryant, and I'm, of course, joined by...
Hello, I'm Megan Olivi. Karyn, what is up? I'm shook.
Yeah. This was
okay, we're
a really intense episode. Yes, a really intense episode.
Yeah.
But we want to get into this. We're going to be talking everything about Still Got It, which was episode 4 for season 3 of Killing Eve, and we do give spoilers here. So if you are on the West Coast and you haven't seen the episode of the show yet, you may want to wait. Those of you, of course, on the East Coast, though, know what a huge finish we had. I don't even want to say it, Megan. I don't want to say it. We lost a friend tonight.
R.I.P. Nico. Like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess my phone's going to turn on the show.
Well, because it got the reminder to tune in and join us live, I bet.
Okay. Anyway. So, we're watching the show. We're seeing things play out. You kind of maybe added up that Nico didn't invite her, but maybe he did. And then you see Dasha.
Right.
Lurking in the shadows. And she used a pitchfork.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. So we know, so to sort of this whole thing, so there's so many layers to this episode, and I really thought it was kind of interesting that we got a little bit of individual stories for people, right?
Yes.
But they did, of course, have to have this big finish at the end, and of course, Dasha was told to put a wedge between Eve and Villanelle, and she even said to this other mysterious woman for whom she works at the pool, and she's like, well, I could kill Eve, like right away. She said she wanted to kill Eve, and then she said, well, she said, no, just drive a wedge between them. So you started to figure it out. And like we were saying before we even went on tonight, I was like, oh, no, there's a new lady. Oh, the other lady's at the hospital. And then I was like, I wonder if that other lady's at the hospital. And then I was like, oh, wait, that's Dasha, right? And then, so it took me a second. And then she's writing the little note. She writes, Still Got It. And I was like, oh, so she's pretending to be Villanelle and the whole thing. But I didn't really, you start to put it all together. And the texts are coming in and you're like, wait, that's Nico's phone. Wait, oh, no. And since we had already seen Eve at the beginning and then they kind of came around in the full circle of telling the story, I really enjoyed that. And so then I was like, oh, no, that's so evil. Because you at one point then saw that the other woman in the pig pen. I know. But so I thought that was actually a really brilliant thing for Dasha to do, a really effective way to drive a wedge between Eve and Villanelle, we think, because obviously Eve cares for her husband still.
Absolutely. And I think what was important to tell how much she cared about Nico still was when she was having the conversation in the gentleman's home. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Right.
When he let her stay there.
Oh, she was at Jamie's house from the bitter pill, and they were right.
And when they were talking about like the worst things they've done, I mean, she's killed people. She killed a man with an axe. But she said, I was unfaithful to my husband. And you could tell that was like the thing that ate at her the most. And, and then she said he did end up in a mental health facility because he had PTSD because of all the things he went through with her. And so her heart was with Nico, even though she seems so, consistently kind of flutter back over there to Villanelle or even just the life of her job. I think that conversation was so telling about her true feelings and love and admiration for her husband. So I think that was literally the worst thing that could ever happen to her. It was worse than her herself dying, is seeing that happen to Nico.
Yeah, I really liked that scene, and I wrote down a couple things from that. So the actor's name is actually Danny Sapani, who plays Jamie, and I haven't really seen him in some things. I guess he's in Penny Dreadful. Some people, it was one of those like best known for Penny Dreadful, which, by the way, on a side note, I've been watching the new one, but I hadn't really watched the old one before, so I'm not really familiar with him as an actor. And I feel like mostly when we see him at the Bitter Pill, he's just kind of grumpy and stuff like that. Like we didn't, you don't get to see so much of his personality. So I was actually really excited to kind of have that moment with him where you got to feel his vibe a little bit more and get to know him. And I really liked their whole back and forth thing about, oh yeah, well I did this. And then when he said, my best friend died with the drugs I gave him, I went, oh.
Yeah.
That was brutal. I thought that was really, really, really brutal. But yes, to your point, a really good conversation that showed, that like Eve is still in a lot of distress here, like a lot of distress.
Absolutely. And I think it was really telling that, like, a big theme, it seems to be like, is we don't know anyone's battles, right? We don't know what's actually going on underneath the surface of anyone in general, let alone these characters. And I want to go from that conversation, Karyn, to a conversation that Carolyn had with her daughter, because when Carolyn walked in the house, she came home in the middle of the day from work, and listen, she's still grieving her son, and she's dealing with a lot at work. Who cares? She comes home early. She might just want to lay down.
Right.
The conversation with her daughter led me to think that what you brought up a couple of weeks ago might be right.
Because she passed Konstantin on the road.
And then when Carolyn, I think Carolyn said something like, we all have, I wrote it down somewhere, but of course I can't find it at this moment. Right. Something about, like, we all have secrets and reasons for keeping them.
Yes.
I thought, what does she know or suspect of her own daughter who's living under her roof at this point?
Right. Right. See, it was a very measured way that Carolyn spoke to her about the secrets and stuff, and it was very particular. And it's so, because at first, she's in the cabin, it's coming up on the such and such, gardens or whatever, and I was like, that's Konstantin. I was like, oh no, but I didn't really know where she was going at first, right? And so then I was like, then you realize that she gets home, and the whole bit of like, oh, had any visitors, and this and that and this and that, and it's interesting because I feel like it's, this show has so many situations where you're like, well, both things can be true, right? Like Geraldine could really be grieving the loss of her brother. She may have had something to do with it. I don't know. I mean, like, she could still really feel for her mother and want to take care of her as well, in that she needs to express herself, but she could be the source of the agony too. I don't know, man. I don't know.
And Konstantin is in the mix of all of this. Like, we don't think of him as, one of the main characters. I feel like we really think of this as a female empowered show. Right. But Konstantin, he's got himself, like, in every single plot. And so we see him talking to the accountant's widow. And what did you take from that conversation?
Oh, that he totally needs the file, and that he was just like, I need this information. Did he send it? You know what I mean? And like that, it was the two things. Did he send it, and where is it? Yeah.
I think he is the guy who stole the money.
I think he's the guy too.
Right, and he's just, and like, how did the wife fall for that? She was just like, okay.
I know. Well, I think he's the guy, but at the same time, because then later on that, you find out that, like, oh no, he was actually in debt. And, it was, the two things didn't jive. Like, if he had stolen $6 million, he wouldn't be in this situation or whatever. And you're like, okay, well, was it like planning for the future or whatever? I wasn't completely sure. If the file does have the names of all the people in the 12, then though, maybe he really is just a conduit, and that list though has the numbers of the people, everybody involved in this whole thing. But I did think that was like, oh no. And then at the end, when that poor woman, and she's there and she's just trying to scare the hiccups out of Villanelle, and I was like, oh, that's so cute. And then they get into their whole playful thing, and for a minute again, little Miss Arrested Development playfulness. Villanelle's like, oh, we're playing, and it's so cute. And then, of course, it did not end well. No. It did not end well.
The childlike wonder didn't end well. I am wearing a jacket similar to that one, but I have a jacket that's almost exactly like that, but it was so swishy and loud.
Yeah.
It's like, this isn't going to be good for anyone who could be very annoyed by my jacket.
Yes.
So this was my Eve Murder Someone in the Garden inspiration.
That's good. That's a good tribute. And mine is the robe. I love Eve has a lot of robes. This one is not floral and pink like hers, but I got this one in Hong Kong years and years ago, and I love it. But hers there, very beautiful there if you want to see Bernadette Pin.
$1,000 robe.
Oh, yes, my $1,000 robe. My $1,000 robe that I'm just gonna whatever in. So we did get a good fun Villanelle kill, and I feel you feel weird like celebrating kills, right? But that's what we love on the show. We actually got 2 decent kills, because Dasha's kill I thought was pretty gruesome, and it was gruesome, right? It was gruesome.
Yeah. I feel like that was the one. I can't remember. I'm sure there were in the first 2 seasons moments where I've covered my eyes, but I was sitting next to my husband, and I kept going, no, and then it happened, and I just covered my eyes because I was so scared, and I'm like, this we don't really see the murders presented that way with Villanelle. Yes, we know that they're gruesome and they're shot in a different way, but it almost seems like Dasha is just like this brutal, I'm a product of maybe my upbringing, whereas Villanelle likes to make it art almost.
Right. I agree. I think it's like a very no frills approach. She's getting job done. Dasha is, you know what I mean? She's efficiency. Yeah, it's that kind of thing, like all the themes. And yes, where Villanelle definitely has more love for the game of it. And it's so cute. I thought it was really cute when she and Dasha were having the conversation, though, and Villanelle found out that, you know, maybe she's going to get to have another meeting and that maybe she's going to get promoted. Like, the whole idea of her getting some authority is kind of fun when they were in the cable car, when she was in the cable car with Konstantin. And the whole bit, like, her idea, it is sort of cute, but, you know, you think of it like, she wants to move up in the ranks, right? Like, she doesn't want to be the grunt all the time, but I thought that the joy on her face for, like, actually the meeting and the, like, she got legit excited. I thought it was very cute.
It seemed to be the only thing that kept her from thinking about Eve. Because when Dasha said, you cannot go to London, you can't be running around there, you have to stay here, she was so disappointed. But then she was like, but the 12 want to meet you. So I don't even know if that's true or if she was just using it as bait.
Right.
I don't actually know if Villanelle was in London when that woman came and spoke to Dasha, because she was getting off a train in what appeared to me to be, I don't speak Russian, but it appeared to be she got off in somewhere in Russia.
At the end?
Yeah.
Because I think, then there's, you know, she's going home, and yes, that looked Russian.
Right.
That looked Russian. Yeah, so I don't, again, I agree with you. I don't know if she really is, that there's really going to be that meeting. Like, you definitely know that Dasha, she obviously, they have this relationship, but now you can tell that Dasha's threatened by Villanelle being better at her. And you do wonder how much how much of what she says is true and how much is her positioning herself again, you know, to be better than Villanelle. I don't think we should trust Dasha.
I don't think so either. I feel like between Dasha and Konstantin is the guy I would trust more, even though he's maybe doing the more shady situations. Seems like he has this tiny piece of him that still have a heart, you know, like the way he sort of interacts with his daughter there.
Yes.
Her to get ice cream, but I mean, what is that? And also, that flavor looks terrible. That blue.
I know.
What flavor of ice cream is that? But okay.
Well, I'm looking at some folks here. People are, you know, tuning in. Oh, wait. That's why. That was the last one. I'm gooped. I was like, wait, I need to see. Oh, that's why. Because I'm like, I'm looking at the wrong one. I'm like, why can't I get our live questions in? Maybe that's because I was looking at the wrong episode. But yeah, I love his daughter, Irina. She's back. She is saucy. She has so much attitude.
So smart.
Little haircut. I like the asymmetric haircut.
Oh, yeah.
But I love that she just sasses her dad right back.
What? I mean, she's raised by him, so she's going to have a lot of his characteristics, and it's one of those things where it's like, you know, I hear parents say this to their kids, and they're like, well, I can't even get mad at you because you're just acting like me. You know? It's like, that's what she's doing. She's acting. Yeah,
I would think he would be inspired by, or like at least appreciative of her spunkiness and stuff. So folks are still tuning into this. So just, I'd like to say hello to everybody that is watching with us live here. So, so a couple of other things here I want to talk to you about. At the beginning, again, since it was kind of this circular thing, with Eve sleeping now at the bitter pill, and she's there, and I thought it was funny, and she's like jams the thing behind, and they're like, her panties are falling out of her pants, and you know, she's a hot mess, and she smells, and she's bad. But so, I guess, did she not want to be at home because Villanelle put the teddy bear there last time and stuff, and she's just freaked out? Like, why doesn't she go home? And Nico's not there. Like, why isn't she just at home?
That's what I think. I think the apartment, well, Villanelle knows all of her habitation spaces. Right. She knows the apartment, and she knows the home she used to share with Nico. So I thought she was going to return to the house with Nico, at least, or that house that she had shared with Nico. Right. I thought, all right, this is a dump. She already knows where you live. Go back to at least your comfortable surroundings where you live. She must just be too freaked out, and
I think so.
I do feel like she had other options. Like, maybe she could just ask Carolyn or one of the people at work, like, can I crash on your couch? Like, I thought that was sort of a weird choice. Like, of course you're going to be found out. But I mean, I'm glad she has a new, she can stay at Jamie's house now. But
yeah,
I think was it an irrational fear of leaving that apartment because Villanelle? Because at the end of the day, like, she's not, I don't think, really going to hurt you. You headbutted her and caused the most damage at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, I feel like even if Villanelle comes, she wants a reunion. She doesn't want to get rid of you. Like, so I guess it really comes down to, if this is all about the choices, and was Eve going to Poland to really reconnect with Nico, and does she really think they had a second chance? Like, with the episode being about choices in your life and choices that you've made, and you do wonder, okay, is she really trying to distance herself from Villanelle or not? Like, I still can't decide exactly where her space is on her deciding whether or not she wants to be around this woman. And it's like, I don't know that she knows yet.
I think her guilt is overriding how she would make decisions normally. So I think she's just kind of so guilty about the bad treatment of Nico.
I guess so, yeah.
Doing everything she can to not even, like, let those decisions be a possibility in her life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like she is trying to right all the wrongs on such an extreme that she's making herself even more miserable than just trying to be like, I can be better.
Well, right. Well, because my thing is, like, look, if you just really wanted Villanelle to get caught and you just didn't want to have anything else to do with her, when you saw the connection between the old picture of Dasha's murder from 40 years ago and this and that, like, if you really want to get rid of her, and maybe you don't want to just tell everybody at the bitter pill everything, but, like, you would just volunteer all this information, right? Because you really want to get rid of this woman. So it's like, but she wants to do it all by herself. Does she really want to get rid of her? She knows she's out there. Like, so that's what I'm saying. She doesn't want her to be gone. Like, she doesn't want her gone. She wants her. I
feel like that's also the only thing she even has in her life. Like,
True.
Even before Nico died, like, Eve's existence is sort of a nothingness at this point. Like, She works in a restaurant where they're like, hey, you should work in the front. Like, what are you even doing? She lived in a shitty apartment.
Right.
She didn't really hang out with anybody. She didn't really have a career path anymore because you could tell that working in the restaurant didn't make her happy. She was just doing it.
Right.
And so I also wonder, like, is that her only identity now? Is like, if I don't have this, what do I have?
Yeah, and identity comes into this a lot, too. I'm glad you brought that up, because obviously we know that Villanelle wants to go home to Moscow and find out about her roots through this season. And, there is a lot about identity. Yes, am I a wife now? Am I a wife anymore? Am I this? Am I that? But there was something interesting that Villanelle said to the widow, and she was, when they were in the garden, and she was like, oh no, I'm just so sad though, because these remind me of my husband, these flowers, and he's gone now, and this and that. And Villanelle's like, cool. She goes, you're gone. She goes, you can be free. You can be whoever you want. And it's so interesting to me that Villanelle has such a different, she doesn't like to be tied or bonded with anybody, right? Except for Eve. But the whole idea that this woman was like, no, I want to be trapped. I want to be in this thing. And it's like Villanelle just doesn't, her brain can't really understand. It seems like, well, what do you mean? You want to be tied to one person forever? Like, I don't understand it. And I just thought that was really interesting, because in her mind, in Villanelle's mind, Eve is liberated now, right?
Exactly.
But
you know what's strange about that is that she feels that way about other people, but when she was young and had that obsession with the teacher, she hated that the teacher had a husband and, did everything she could to possess the teacher. And then it became, she did everything and is doing everything she can to possess Eve. And I think that's so strange that, like, she can't see it within her own self. Like, she thinks, oh, you're free now, and, like, your husband tragically died, but, like, good for you. But she doesn't see how, like, she's not letting go of Eve. She's not giving her any freedom.
Right. Well, and maybe Villanelle, too, is just one of those people who can't be she can only be the collector, right? Like, she can't be the collected. So maybe that is it. She's, like, triggered by being, whatever. Yeah. So, with the cake, so the picture of the cake. So the poor cake. So this is a couple times in this episode, and you, Megan, I have a feeling on this one you're going to agree with me, as a woman who also loves to cook and bake. 2 cakes were destroyed in the making of this episode, and that hurts me. I especially the one that Eve had was beautiful, and granted, you don't know what's in the box, you don't know what's in the cake, and I understand that you really can't eat it, but when I saw how pretty it was, I was kind of envious. And then I did, Villanelle's cake was sort of funny, but it's just like a thing for me in movies and things in general. Like when I see people throwing away like cakes and stuff, like, oh, I'll make this, and I don't want, and I'm like, nobody throws away a cake. Like, nobody throws away a cake.
Also, nobody uses that amount of flour for anything. That's just everywhere. Like, what are you doing? And that, because flour and sugar, we talked about this one time, they're so hard to get right now. Like, you really have to make sure you have enough in your pantry to make whatever you want. So I'm like, so it was really stressing me out to see, like, all the wasted flour as well. Yes. They're like, willy-nilly all over the apartment. Like, what were you doing? Like, I hate when Hollywood does that about, like, oh, they're cooking, so let's just have flour all over them. Like, let's not. Let's make sure we're being very protective of the flour.
I am, and I finally got my sugar and flour back and everything. Then I ran out of yeast. Of course, I went to the store the other day. I was like, son of a bitch! But so I can still make like my banana breads and stuff like that. But yeah, so that does make me a little bit crazy. So a couple things also in here.
For mailing me yeast, just so you know, because I ran out of yeast as well. My mom found 6 packets, so shout out to my mom for doing that.
Way to go, Mom! Yeah, no, I know. So I'm gonna get back to the point where I have enough I have like enough for one more loaf of bread, I think. And so hopefully the other kind of stuff I bake doesn't need too much yeast. But all right, so question for you, because Wade, who is producing this show, who does all the production for us and everything, is a person who gets radically awful cases of the hiccups. So there's Wade there, yeah. So in this case, I was curious about you and the hiccups, if you have any experience with that, because for us, like the whole thing that, with the scaring of it, I just had him the other day, but he'll literally go to bed with him sometimes and then wake up the next day and still have them.
What?
Yeah, it's messed up.
Oh my God, no.
It sucks.
Knock on wood, that doesn't happen to me. When I do get them, my secret that always works is I hold my breath.
Yeah.
And I just chug some water while I'm holding my breath, and it makes them immediately go away.
Okay, that's good to know, because I've done the drinking water upside down thing. Like you kind of lean.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like people just recommend things to like make everyone look stupid.
Right. And then
they're like, oh, do a headstand.
Do a headstand, right?
Like,
there was one they used to say like rub your throat, like the tongue on the top of your throat. Yeah. And then if you realize, you just look like an idiot. It's just, they just want to make you look like an idiot.
100%. I will say the tongue on the roof of your mouth when you have brain freeze.
Does it?
Oh yeah, it takes care of it.
Really? You
like press your tongue on the roof of your mouth because it like warms up those nerves or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm full of tricks, Karyn.
Good to know. All right, so there was a couple of other things here that I wanted to mention. We always have to give props to the people with the music, but the fact that they were playing Tiptoe Through the Tulips when Villanelle was chasing her around to get rid of those hiccups, I thought, touche. Very funny. Also, okay, so, couple things here. The frogs. So Carolyn's relaxation sound is frogs, right? Or was it like at first was that her alarm?
Crickets,
But then it was her, right. So I use the Calm app sometimes. I am particular to the train ride is the one that I listen to fall asleep. Because, when we travel on the road and we get a lot of jet lag and stuff like that. So for me, it's the train ride. And I think I actually one time did try the frogs or like a nature sound and it was too loud. And I thought that was, so I was just curious what your take was on that. Because I was like, oh, frogs. That's an interesting take for what's relaxing.
It's funny. I actually loved that. My parents lived part of the time in South Carolina.
Oh,
and, so I grew up, probably like 15 years of my life going there in the summer and falling asleep to that exact sound. So when I was watching it, I looked at Joe and I was like, that sounds just like South Carolina, which to my parents and my siblings and I, that is the most peaceful place in the world.
Right.
So I like immediately really related to her. I was like, oh my God. And then I thought, I need to put that on my phone.
Oh, that's good.
To me, there was like, oh my God, I totally get it. I think it's kind of odd, it's an odd choice. It's an interesting choice for her, but I loved it. And I have never been a person that's like a white noise machine or downloads any songs. I just kind of like go to sleep. I leave the TV on to go to sleep.
Okay.
If if Joe's not with me, like if I'm in a hotel or something. But now I'm gonna put that on my phone because I just loved it so much. I was like, oh, I miss it.
You know, I think I tried it once because my folks used to live on a lake too, and I'm from Massachusetts. I grew up in a place where we had a lot of nature and lightning bugs and this and that, and so I've tried those sounds, and I thought, oh yeah, no, I'll be good. Like outdoor that nighttime cricket or like crickets, and the crickets always end up being too loud. But the frog thing, I was like, yeah, I don't know on the frogs if I'm gonna be. If frogs are going to be a sound that is that relaxing to me, so maybe I'll try them in the spirit of Carolyn. For me, like I said, the train ride does it for me, and I like thunderstorm, rainstorms, and stuff like that.
No, see, and I guess I gotta just try them. I've never even thought about it, and sometimes we can be in hotels where like you want to go in the hallway and yell at everybody.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yes. Yeah, no, that's why I do. That's why I got them. And also, by the way, I even, to take it a next step up, for my mom for her birthday the other day, I bought her this like wraparound, like blackout thing for your eyes to sleep in, and it has speakers in it, and you can get your MP3 in it, so it blacks out the light. And so I'm saying it might be one of those things that we might want to invest in for travel. For those who don't know, Megan and I both work with the UFC, and we are usually traveling around the world covering fights. She'll be back in action next week because fights are coming back. Hallelujah. Yeah, hallelujah. So we spend a lot of time in hotels and stuff. So we will take any and all of your fall asleep tips.
Yes, for real. The inside balcony, when the balcony stays the inside.
Yeah. Well, so we got a couple of things here. So we got actually some donations. So we want to thank JB and Lil Snoop for donating. We love that. That is so cool. We really appreciate that.
That's amazing. I still don't understand how that works, but that's so great.
I know. It really is great. So folks are just tuning in and saying, thank you so much, because they were like, waiting for the week for this to come. And we just really appreciate it. And I'm glad that it makes you happy and laugh. The whole 9 yards. We definitely appreciate it. It is funny though, because I don't know about you. It's weird too, because the time, of course, with all of us being at home, it's like, you lose track of what days and stuff. And I do, they'll come around, like you start to see the promos a little, you're like, oh, cool. Yeah. Well, hey, it's almost Sunday fun day. Hey, baby, it's almost time for Killing You. Because I'm like, I don't have a lot of other things to look forward to right now.
Right. I also never know what day it is, so I'm like, oh, okay, it's Sunday. That means I have something to do. Here we are.
Yes. So one thing I wanted to ask you about, Megan, is this dress, this beautiful dress that she was wearing when she was in Barcelona. Villanelle was there, and she was window shopping, and she was shopping for some things, and she already had on this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous dress. Simone Rocha sheer dress, $1,655. Nice work if you can get it.
Barely more than a robe.
Would you wear that?
I wouldn't. For a couple of reasons. I didn't even love the dress, and I hate saying that. She loves the very European designers and the very European looking designs, and so I appreciated the design of the dress. I wish it would have been like really tailored to her, although I know that is not how it's presented as the design. Right. But just for me personally, I loved the very delicate sheer shoulders. Yeah. I loved it until we got to that red stitching. I just felt like it made her look a lot bigger than she is. Right. So I would have loved to see the top taken in a little bit more. That would have been great for me in terms, because we always see her, even if she wears menswear or whatever, we always do see her in very well tailored things. So I just kind of felt like that wasn't as fitted as it could have been, even the way they presented it on the runway and on the models. But no, I wouldn't wear it because not much to fill out, and I'm short, so it's just not for a 5 foot body. Yeah.
It's not, I agree with you on that, because it was a little like boxy there. Yeah. And kind of sultry, but at the same time, again, it is that playful juvenile theme, and the little red lines kind of, even though they are sexy in a way because they're accentuating the breast line, they are also still quite like juvenile and playful. So I thought that this dress really was another one that kind of summarized her personality really well. And but I don't know that I don't really wear this kind of thing either. Like, it's a little too girly for me, if that sounds like. I don't
all dress kind of.
Yeah, it was just a little. I don't know. I don't wear are things that are like ethereal and like, or like whatever, like, I don't know. I can't pull off ethereal. I don't know. I thought it was nice though. And I did like it, and I thought it was comfy. Like, it seemed to me like it was a dress that if you put it on, it probably makes you happy though. Like, yeah. Feels like the kind of thing that, like, when she's wearing it and she's walking around, like, I would love, and okay, so this is the girl and where you're just like, wouldn't it be cool if I was just like window shopping and I was already in the $1,600 dress, but I just threw it on in like my little red loafers, and like that was my like casual go shopping outfit. I guess what it is to me, it was like the whole aspirational thing of like, I'm just going to go out in this stellar outfit anyway to just go out and shop for more cool things. I don't know, but I don't necessarily know that I personally would have worn it either.
Yeah, it was very baby doll, however, with her hair down and some of those longer shots where you could see the full outfit with the red shoes. I thought she looked so beautiful. So even like when things aren't the best tailored or at least, like super fitted or anything, she still just pulls everything off.
Yes, yes. And did you like the high-low? Because that's the other thing, too, is sometimes you get the peekaboo, and there's the floral dress from before. Yeah, last week's episode, she was wearing some really nice stuff, and she's wearing, there's a lot of patterns. I think we see in the preview next week, she's wearing some fun pattern stuff. But just, yes, like, and she's got layers and stuff going.
Yeah, I think, and that blue she was wearing at the very end of the episode that looks like she continues to wear next week, I just felt like that was a stunning color on her. She always like does really well with those playful vibes and colors, and that was something that made me go, oh, whoa, she just looks beautiful in this just pretty plain blue turtleneck. Yes.
And for the patterns next week, I have a feeling I'll be leaning on my like Custo Barcelona stuff, and you know what I mean. I have a few things there, and I have this one shirt, and I don't know where it went. You ever think you leave something at a dry cleaner? You're like, did I leave it at a dry cleaner for you?
Mine is always in hotel rooms. I've lost like RIP to all my favorite clothes that I've left in hotel rooms. Dresses. My most favoriteest pair of white jeans ever, and like they're so hard to get that like fit well and like don't look cheap. Left those and they mysteriously disappeared. Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. That's frustrating. But yeah, so it looks like some more playful stuff. Well, let's just see if we got more questions before we get out of here. But who was your somebody's Neil the security, thank you for the donation, has a question for us, Megan, that is not about killing Eve. Is a fight question. As we mentioned, both of us work with UFC. It says, who was your most awkward interview? I know mine personally was the first time I interviewed our coworker, Dominic Cruz. And I remember sitting there and I was like, in my head going, I don't think this is going well.
Oh, no. What happened?
Dominic, I love him, and he's a wonderful guy, but I didn't really know him that well. You got to get to know somebody at first. And Dominic has an awkward, kind of obtuse sense of humor sometimes, right? And he can be very dry and sarcastic and stuff. And I'm sarcastic, all this stuff, but like I just remember talking and like, was that a joke? Oh no, like I just didn't get his vibe at all at first, and I left and I was like, I honestly don't know if that went well. And then of course the more you interview, then you're like, oh yeah, it did go well. That's him. Like, and so it was fun. But I remember at the time going, oh, that sucked.
That is so fun. I never would have guessed him out of all people.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. I'm sure I've had a million awkward interviews. I'm trying to think. Well, I'll say this because I've told him this. So, when Forrest Griffin was an active fighter, he was challenging to work with some days. Some days he was just the best, like the Forrest we all know and love. Right. And then some days he wasn't. So there were definitely, especially when I first started, I first moved to Las Vegas. Like I was young. I was just trying my best. I was trying to be polite and stuff, but he wasn't feeling it all the time. Right. So I told him, I'm like, I love you so much more now that you're not fighting. Every time we work together, he's a literal joy. He is. But like when he was an active fighter, there were some challenges that I would definitely be, when I saw he was on the docket for the day, I'd be like, oh, great. Okay. Like I would be so nervous that I didn't want to like make him mad, but he's the best, and he's the best. No, he's incredible, but I know exactly what you mean. Because sometimes, like, for people who don't know, with these athletes, oftentimes when we're interviewing them, they're cutting weight, they really aren't eating a lot, they're tired, there's a lot of stress, they're pulled in a lot of directions, and oh yeah, by the way, in a day or two, someone's going to try to punch their head off. So there's a
a lot going on, and so sometimes we get guys and they're just like not in the mood to talk, or they're trying to entertain themselves because they've answered the same question 90 times, and so they're being weird with you just because they're bored.
Right. And that's the thing about our jobs is we also have to, like, sometimes you have to ask the questions that have been asked a million times, because if you don't ask them and they air, there's going to be a certain group of people who haven't seen those other interviews. So I always say, like, listen, I know you've been asked these a million times. We have to ask them again for our viewers. I will try to make it as painless as possible.
Right.
Yeah, it can be challenging, but you know what? Our athletes are so good at. Yeah. They're so good at understanding what is asked of them every fight week that we are lucky, because most of the time they're like, it's all right, we got it. It's fine. No, I understand. They will give a great answer even though it's the 40th time they've answered it that week.
It's true. Yeah, we do. We have a good time, and like we said, we're getting back to work soon. So next week you'll be in Florida. Yes. So that'll be cool. I know. And it's interesting, and we have been saying, I have been doing my jump rope. I got a bunch of sessions in today. We actually had a little neighborhood, not with the neighborhood, rather, our neighbors last night. We both sat on other sides of our fence and, chatted with them. We all brought drinks out and had a nice little evening with them. And we've been able to keep our spirits up and stay positive. But of course, we do know that is not the case for everybody. Want to put up the number for the National Suicide Prevention Line. This is definitely very, very, very trying times for a lot of people. So if you are in distress, need somebody to talk to, please reach out. Hopefully, if you're watching this right now, hopefully we've given you, some jokes, some laughs, and just taken your mind off of the hard times. There really is a lot of pain going on right now. So please take care of yourselves and please seek help if you need it.
Yeah, and I just to add to that, if you or someone you know is struggling with addiction issues in any form, obviously meetings are closed, but there are actually online meetings that you can attend in many different ways, whether it's Zoom or Skype or even just you logging in and watching in general. So if you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, because how could you not be really at this time if you already are privy to that in your life, and you're missing your meetings, you can find those online. And also domestic violence rates are massively up in the country right now. Yeah. Again, if you or someone you know needs help, not just by phone call, you can also text the National Domestic Violence Hotline. All you have to do is Google it. You can also do a live chat with somebody online. There are thousands of amazing shelters all around the world that will accept you, your children, and your pets. So don't fear leaving because you can't leave another member of the family behind. There are so many organizations that are willing and ready and equipped to help you. So make sure that you, if you're scared of your Google search being found or something, where the National Domestic Violence Hotline will provide you with texting. They'll make it very covert for you to get out safely.
That's great. And because I remember reading about women who wouldn't leave because, they wanted the dog. And they were like, my daughter loves the dog. I can't leave without the dog, and I can't go somewhere with the dog. And that is really important. I remember hearing about shelters and places that took in all of the members of the family, which is really great.
Yeah, Las Vegas has two really great Safe Nest and the Shade Tree who both do that. They will take in you, your children, and your pets as well. So it's important. So
it's really important. And also, I want to say too, sometimes if you need to, just go sit in your car if you have one, or whatever. I mean, it's hard, but we all know sometimes, on top of each other, just if you can, try to find your little personal space or whatever, your own little zen. Just watch more Villanelle, watch more Killing Eve, watch more Killing Even More. Oh, Wade's sneaking in. I think we got one more thing to get to before we leave.
Next week, are you doing it?
Okay, so yes, next week we have some questions whether or not we'll be able to do this live, because as we mentioned, Megan, you will be in Florida.
Hopefully
so I guess we'll play that by ear, and we'll keep people informed as whether or not it's going to be able to be live, or if next week's will just have to be recorded.
Yes, we will. TBD, because I also have no idea.
Yes, yes, we don't know.
Now you guys will know.
Right, but so you can follow Killing Even More on Twitter and on Instagram, and then that way we'll obviously be putting out the information on that. For me on Instagram, I'm KB Heat. Karyn Bryant across the board everywhere else, as you can see right here. And Megan, of course, they can follow you.
Megan Olivi, both platforms.
Right. Yes, and so we'll keep you posted on everything. Also, you can follow Wadeck, Wadeeck, for he's the one who does all the production and stuff, and shoots all of our things for MMA Heat as well. So if you guys are bored and you're fight fans, we got a ton of stuff that we still like on MMAHeat.com. That there's always a ton of things to watch and get the fight satisfaction. I mean, to some degree.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Get your juices flowing for Saturday.
That's right. And now, lastly, Megan, did you decide is the whole family going to Florida or no?
TBD as well. TBD.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, that is it. So it was a fun episode. Rest in peace, Nico. Although, okay, one last thing, though. I will say this, though, with Eve feeling as guilty as she did about stuff, like Nico also stepped out. So she should feel bad.
Kind of first, too, before anything happened with Villanelle.
Right, because she was mentally maybe, checked out of the relationship, but he's the one who actually, so, it was a fair fight, I think, between the two of them. They could have come to neutral ground if it was something where they were ever going to be able to come, back to terms.
Yeah, but I'll still pour some water out for Nico. I don't drink, so I don't pour any alcohol out, but I'll pour.
I know, I'm drinking water too. Pour a little out for Nico. And the mustache. What did she say? The mustache is gone.
So sad.
I know, so sad. Well, anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.